So my name is Ange Maud. I am the very proud owner of 2 studios. I have one in Pietermaritzburg and one in Hilton. I'm a Bounty qualified rebounding instructor, and I'm also a Bassi Pilates mat instructor. So my story is a little bit different from some people. Middle of last year, I started feeling a little bit unwell, and I kept saying to the ladies after classes, "Oh, I've got like a funny tummy." I could just feel something wasn't right. So I was booked in for a gastroscopy. I had a procedure done the previous year where I needed a lap nissen done because I was suffering from terrible reflux. So I was already booked in for the gastroscopy, and I just kept getting continuous upset stomachs. My husband had a tummy bug, then my son again. So I just thought, I just kept getting tummy bugs. But I was reasonably healthy. I was taking up to 27 classes a week, plus working a full day job. So yeah, I didn't think too much about it, but I knew something wasn't right. So they booked me in for my routine gastroscopy checkup, as well as a colonoscopy. So generally you have to be 50 and older for it to become part of your routine checkups. I have heard talks that they'll bring it down to 45. I'm 41, so I am way below the age limit for even getting it checked. And the week before I went in for my procedure, I was very fortunate. I won a DNA test, and I met with dietitian Carly, and we went through my DNA testing, and I found that I had the genetic markers for celiac disease. So she said, well, when I go into surgery, just chat to him and see if he can't just do a biopsy for the celiac. So obviously that's quite an important thing. I've always been gluten sensitive, but now I know it actually is a little bit more than just a sensitivity. So went into for my procedure, just a very normal procedure. Saw the doctor beforehand, and I said, please, you need to check for celiac. I came out of surgery, not surgery, but just my procedure, came out, and everyone else was eating food, and I was like, seriously, I need food, because you don't eat for like 2 days beforehand, because they've got to cleanse you. And they came to me and they said, you're going in for a CT scan. So I was like, okay, that's a bit unusual. Didn't think too much about it. I phoned my husband and I said, look, you can't come fetch me. I'm going in for a CT scan. And he said, what's wrong? I said, I don't know, but very tongue-in-cheek. I said, yeah, probably cancer or something like that. When you say it, you don't actually believe the words you're saying. So a friend of mine, she's a nursing sister, she's also one of my clients at my Hilton studio. She came and saw me, and she just said, I said to her, I'm going for a CT scan. So she said, no, cool, she'll come back just now. So by that time, the surgeon had come to see me, and he came to me, put his arms around me. I think he was more upset about the finding than me. And he just said to me, I'm so sorry, Ange, we found colon cancer. You've got a cancerous tumor. It has perforated. They tried to lance it, but they couldn't. So I was like, that's fine. I wasn't emotional about it. I was absolutely fine. Obviously, all my neighbors had heard my news. They were all saying to me, like, giving me advice, how are you doing in that? And I was like, I'm fine, absolutely fine. Didn't cry anything. Phoned my husband. I said, look, they found cancer. I'm going through to another hospital because of load shedding. They couldn't do the CT scan. Yeah, so I got to ride an ambulance. So that was quite a cool experience. Bucket list item, tick. On top of it, I was taking selfies. We were playing rock music. I was loving it. Got through all the traffic, had the CT scan, then they took me back, came home, and saw the surgeon, and he said to me, look, the earliest, so this was on a Friday, he said the earliest they can get me in for surgery is Tuesday. I literally had the weekend to plan my whole life. It was insane because running to studios, and I had to make all these adjustments for classes and everything. So unfortunately, I had to shut my studio straight away. At that time, it was just me. Obviously now, because of this, I have branched out. I do have other instructors. So my studios literally came to a grinding halt. I have the most amazing clients. They were very understanding about it. I then had to sort out my day job work, get all that prepped, because I didn't know how long they said to me I'd be in hospital for about 6 days. And then, yeah, Tuesday I went in for the op, and he removed a kg of tissue and everything like that, got everything out. So I was like, cool, sorted, great. I then got an infection. I was in high care for 6 days. It was the most frustrating situation because I like to be active. It was killing me lying in a bed, but literally the next day the physio came. I said, come, you're getting me out of bed. I've got to get moving. I hate sitting still. So they got me up straight away. I started walking, sitting in chairs. I made sure that I was doing as much as I could to help myself get better. Unfortunately, infection kept me in a little bit longer than expected, and then I came out of hospital. So it takes a while for your results to come through. I just, carried on as best I could. I had sunrise classes booked for the longest day, which was the 23rd of December, and I was adamant I was still taking those classes. So with my operation, they'd cut through my Caesar scar, plus I had keyhole surgery, so they'd gone through my abdominals again. One child, 3 Caesar cuts, so it's not for the faint of heart. I still hadn't got my results. Even before Christmas, hadn't got my results. It was a hard Christmas for me because I didn't have that festive cheer or anything like that. I came out of hospital on the 17th of December. We didn't even put up a Christmas tree. I felt so bad for my son, but I just didn't have it in me. Everything had just been quite a shell shock in that I didn't have my results. So on the 23rd of December, I took a sunrise class at, I think it was 4:45 in the morning. I then took a sunset class, followed by our Christmas rebounding class. I won't pretend, I was absolutely shattered. I wasn't allowed to drive yet. So my friends took me up. They actually took the class for me. I was just there to give a few cues and stuff like that. And I came home and everyone was like, why are you doing this? And I said to them, it was more for my soul than it was for them. I opened my studio in January last year, and I felt for me I had to finish the year off properly. And when I opened my Hilton studio in July, that was my first thing I said when I joined them, is I have to do this longest day class. It was like a non-negotiable in my life. So I pushed myself through that. I then took a couple of weeks off just to try and recover in that. They say you're not supposed to exercise for 6 weeks. 4 weeks I survived and I started the rebounding again. Ab work, I did listen to that. I did wait for the 6 weeks and my clearance. And I still hadn't got my results till after Christmas. And I phoned my doctor, it was the 28th of December, and he came back to me and the pathology showed I had stage 3 colorectal cancer. 2 lymph nodes were infected and I was 2 millimeters away from stage 4 cancer. So again, I got the news, very clinical, that's fine, not a problem. Where do we progress from here? So he said, no, they were booking me in with a particular oncologist. He's very good with colorectal cancer. Great. So on the 31st of December, I went and I saw him. Got a bit of information. It's just very, very overwhelming when you get all that information and you don't think of all the different questions. So they waited 6 weeks for me to start my treatment from when I had my operation, because you've got to be healed before they start the treatment. So for colorectal cancer, it is 12 weeks of chemotherapy. I have had a chemo port put in just because if you can do oral chemo with intravenous, but my veins are pretty fair to frot. They just hibernate, they always have. And then also if you have the oral pill, you're not allowed, you lose the skin on your hands and feet. And for me running 2 studios, that just wasn't even an option. So I went with the chemo port option. What they don't tell you is how long it's actually got to be in. I thought I'd just have the chemo and it would be out. Well, that is not the case, as I subsequently found out. So the port was put in while I was awake. I think that's the thing that I was most scared about, is having this port put in. So they cut you in your jugular, they cut you slightly lower down, they then put in a little round piece of plastic, they feed the tube up over your collarbone. That was very painful, you could feel that, and then down into the valve just above the heart. So it goes straight into your heart, the chemo. So I go every second week. I sit there for 6 hours on my chemo days. I then come home with what they call a pump, so I'm still attached to another drip for the next 46 hours. I then go back up to chemo, they take the needle out, and then I'm good to go. They just do a heparin flush and then we can carry on. So that's great. So during this time, it's been very frustrating for me. From being super fit, being able to take 27 classes a week, I have lost so much muscle tone. My cardio is like non-existent. I've gained a lot of fat, which is very frustrating because I have struggled with my weight. I worked so hard to lose everything, get strong and fit and healthy, but unfortunately, the chemo and the cortisone has affected that terribly. And the doctor said, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do while you're on treatment. You just have to wait until everything is done, which is fair enough. It's been a hard pill to swallow, but I met someone so randomly the other day, but there are no such things, nothing is random. There was a reason I was supposed to meet her, and she just said to me, love the body you've got. It's fighting so hard to save your life. Stop being so critical of it. And that was just like a light bulb moment for me. I won't pretend, and it has given me a different outlook on it. So with each passing week of chemo, I feel like a part of my soul has been going. And those who know me really well have just said, like, the sparkle in my eyes gone. It's not there anymore. I can put on a brave face for everyone. I have been very strong. I have shed a few tears on this WellCation, I won't pretend. But before, I haven't cried over it. I've just been very clinical. Let's get through it. It's fine. And my oncologist said to me, I need to cry before the end, because he said it's going to finish and then I'm just going to fall apart. So I need to actually go through the motions during it, but I'm not a very emotional person. So when I saw Lisa advertise the WellCation, I got hold of her straight away and I said, I've seen you advertise it. We've known each other for years, so she knows my whole story. I said, can I come along? And she said, why would I think I couldn't? So I just said to her, no, well, everything I've tried to do this year, whether it's doing a course, taking a class, anything like that, everyone has told me no. No is the most common word I hear. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. You can't eat this. You can't think like that. You can't. It's been so frustrating. And she said to me, of course you can. And for the first time since this whole thing has started, I actually had a little bit of hope and excitement again. And I spoke to my oncologist and they said, no, happy for me to go. They just changed the treatment plan by a week, which they do quite often, just depending on our bloods. So I signed up for the trip. I obviously spoke to my husband and son about it. Initially, they were like, well, why don't we go on a family holiday and that? And I said, I love you guys, but I actually need to do this for me. I just need it for my soul. And when I explained my reason behind it, they were like, no, they get it. And I said, it's got nothing to do with them. It's actually about me for once. So yeah, I've been very excited. The week before we were supposed to leave, I got horribly sick. Landed up at the doctor's rooms and they said to me, look, chances are I might not be able to go on my trip. And I was just like, it's not happening. I'm going to go and swim with my dolphins. The whole thing for me has been swimming with dolphins. And I went on a course of antibiotics, which I normally never do. They had to send me for blood tests, everything. I had a definite infection. They didn't know what the infection was. Unfortunately, being a cancer patient, it can literally be anything and everything. Our bodies react so differently to just like a normal cold or stomach bug. Well, they said it was a viral infection. They couldn't pinpoint it. Obviously, the bloods didn't show exactly what it was, but I had an infection. And we were leaving on the Saturday. The Friday morning, I went for my checkup and they gave me the all clear. I was so good. I did nothing. I literally stayed in my bed for 4 days, working, doing whatever I needed to do, just to make sure my body was strong enough to come on this trip. So Friday I went to see the doctor, gave me the all clear, and yeah, very, very relieved, got hold of Lisa and Cara. I was like, okay, I'm coming on the trip. And then I had to start packing. I had done nothing. I hadn't bought anything, nothing. So yeah, lastminute.com as always. We left Maritzburg at the death to try and get to the airport on time. Yeah, much to my husband's delight. But I got to Joburg, and this has just been, it's been what my soul has needed. I have just felt so empty for so long. I have shed many a tear, and I'm not an emotional person by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said, I'm very clinical, but I think this trip has been good for me. It's made me realize that, yeah, I'm just trying to verbalize this now. Look, all of us don't know how long we have. We honestly don't. And we need to make the most of every opportunity we are given. But I think because of my current situation, and my biggest fear is, what if it doesn't work? Because I speak to so many people in the chemo suite who have also been in stage 3 with different cancers, some with colon cancers. They've been through the treatment, everything like that, and they go for that 3-month checkup, and they get the news, unfortunately it's spread. And that has been my biggest fear, that I'll never see my son get old. So for me, this has been a bit of soul searching for me. I've met the most amazing ladies on this journey, and we all come from such different paths of life, but all of us have some trauma. And yeah, that's normal, that's life. Trauma is life, and it's what you choose to do with it and how you grow from it and what you learn from it. So for me, this trip has just been finding my soul again, finding that happiness, finding that spark. And the biggest thing for me has been swimming with my dolphins. And we went out on the first day, we didn't see the dolphins, and I was obviously bitterly disappointed, but it was fine. And Lisa made a plan to take us out on another dolphin finding expedition, especially for me, which I cannot tell you how grateful I am for it. And some of the ladies came and joined, and we found the dolphins. We got to swim with them 3 times, and I just took a selfie. I'm not a selfie person, but I took a selfie and I sent it to my husband, and he just said he has never seen me look this happy in a long time. He said the sparkle's back, the happiness is back. And he said for the first time it actually hits him that I have cancer. And I don't know how many opportunities I'm going to get. None of us know how many opportunities we're going to get. But I think because mine is a little bit closer to home, we don't know what the future holds. It's starting to hit home in that. So we've all shed many a tear on this trip, but my heart is full again, my soul is full again. I'm only halfway through my treatments. I then get to go back. I still have another 2 intravenous treatments into my ports. And then I start 5 weeks of radiation with oral chemo. So chemo has been very hard on my body. As I said, obviously the weight gain and stuff like that, but I've developed neuropathy in hands and feet. So they've had to stop one of my treatments to try and get my body a chance to heal. I'll only know in 3 months if I do have permanent nerve damage or not, which is quite frustrating. So I rebound my feet to it. I go in cooler water. My feet sting, my hands sting. I battle to swallow. I've got numbing of the gums, brain fog. So we call it chemo fog, where you just, you can't think half the time. So can't use big words. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you cannot use big words like marmalade anymore. Speak to other cancer patients, they tell you the exact same thing. So like when I instruct a class, it's like basic words, or just kick your leg or something like that now. So I've been very fortunate in my studios. Like my clientele has been absolutely phenomenal, so supportive, so understanding. I hate cancelling classes, but on that occasion I have had to. My body's just getting very tired. Each treatment just takes more and more out of me. But after this trip, I know that I can go home. I can face the next 3 months of treatment. I only finish in July. So and then obviously having a chemo port has been quite debilitating as well. So for the first 4 weeks I wasn't able to lift my arm, not do any exercises or anything like that. I've now obviously been able to move my arm. I have had a bit of lino done on it just to try and restore my range of motion. But it's always a conscious point for me. I can't lift weights heavier than 3 kgs. On the rebounder everything is about 3 times heavier, so 1 kg are my limits. Even some extension exercise I cannot do, it just hurts my chest too much. So I've had to adapt. So just sitting in the chemo suite, speaking to other people, I found that there is so little known about exercise for cancer patients. So I found the most amazing online course. That online is the way to go these days. It's an internationally recognized course, and it teaches us about the 26 most common types of cancer, the different operations people go through, the different type of treatments. So what I didn't know before I started my whole journey is every cancer has a different treatment. I just thought it was a one size fits all. We all get very skinny from the treatment. Furthest thing from the truth. So we all have our different treatments, all have different side effects. So I won't lose my hair. My hair has started to thin terribly, but I won't lose my hair. Whereas the breast cancer patients, they do lose their hair because they are having a very different treatment. Theirs is called Red Devil for most of them, and the treatment is literally red. It's a horrible treatment. So that is where my journey has taken me. Not once have I ever thought to myself, why me? Why have I got cancer? I've never once thought that. I've always thought, what a gift. There's a reason I've been gifted this. It's to find what to do now with this gift. And just everything that's happened up until this point, and also just being here and talking to everyone, I know my gift is to help other people that are in my situation. Not all of them were lucky enough to be as young as me, as fit as me, as healthy as me. And I was healthy. Obviously I didn't know I had cancer, but I was healthy. And my gift is to help other people in my situation, because a lot of trainers, they don't actually know what we're going through, but I get it. I'm living it. I understand it. And it's how I can help make a difference in other people's lives. even if they're not cancer patients, going through other different types of trauma, I get it, I've been there. And what someone said to me, they said, you cannot be a healer until you have been through your own pain. And I thought my pain was losing my mum, my uncle, and my best friend in the space of 7 months. But clearly this is the pain I needed to go through so that I could learn to help other people. So if you are thinking of doing a WellCation, it is amazing for the soul. You meet the most amazing people. I've had an absolute blast. Yes, like Cara. I have had an absolute blast. I'm going home full heart, full soul. I know I'm going to get through these next few weeks. I have met the most amazing woman. I've got lifelong friends here, and I know I have. I am so fortunate in my life. I have got the most amazing friends all around the world. I have really, and I don't use this word lightly, I really have been blessed with the people that have come into my life. So I am very fortunate. I have a wonderful support system, lovely family. So yeah, so if you're thinking of the WellCation, definitely come on it. It is life-changing, and it gives you a different perspective of things. It really does. And all I can say to Lisa, Cara and Rox, thank you for allowing me to come on this amazing WellCation. Thank you for all the love, support, kindness and caring. I honestly couldn't have done it without all you ladies and the rest of the tribe here.